Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of my podcast. Today's podcast will be on experience, and as usual, I will start this podcast off with a quote. Nothing is a waste of time if you use the experience wisely. And that's a quote by Auguste Rodin. Life has truly been interesting for me. I discussed this in another podcast where I say that, like, as you go to a new level, that signals to the universe that you're ready for new experiences, that you're ready to welcome on new challenges, and you're ready for growth. You're ready to become a newer, better, stronger, more improved you. And ultimately, you're working towards becoming that you need to be in order to obtain and achieve the success that you want to receive. And ever since I've been doing this podcast, and even before then, life has really been stepping it up. It really has been stepping it up. It's been stepping up in various areas of my life, not just one, like being dedicated to the podcast or committed to, the work or committed to personal growth, but it's just been, my whole life. It's been like a physical toll, energy toll. It's been a spiritual toll. Like it's a mental toll. It's just been on all the realms that we exist. I've really just been pushing myself towards growth, and this experience that I'm going is teaching me a lot of lessons that I don't think any amount of books I read or anything anybody told me could ever help me to conceptualize or really gain that valuable experience of having gone through it. Like I said, it's just something about this podcast, the principles that I'm talking about, the stuff that I'm discussing, the lessons that I'm trying to share with you guys are also lessons and principles and things that I'm going through and I'm learning as we go. And it's really been a stage of growth for me, and I'm thankful for it. It's not always easy, and it's not always difficult. Like we always discuss, life has ebbs and flows. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to enjoy the journey, because as I look back over my life, there's some things that I was going through that at the time I just wish that that it was over, that I could be through with it, instead of enjoying the journey and seeing what I can learn from it and actually, being present and committing myself to the process. I kind of let some lessons slip through, or an experience go undervalued in my life. Like I said, it's been testing me in every form and every realm of my life. It's been testing my confidence, my self-control, my situational awareness, my discipline, my commitment, my sincerity, my growth, and just so much more. It's not just physical things, like things you can touch. It's emotional things and and things we discuss that, when you grow up through life, people don't really tell you about. But as you grow older and you experience things and you expand your mind, you start to conceptualize, or experiment with different ways of thinking that aren't circulated through the normal society, like energy. We discuss energy in a scientific form, but as far as like a spiritual energy, or like a metaphysical sense of the word, it's not something that we really talk about or circulate freely in society, because I think people get a little bit weirded out about it, because some of the things that you experience, science hasn't yet come up with a way to express that. And some people get a little shaky when you start discussing things that can't be factually proven. But it all comes down to belief. You have to believe in something. Even if you only believe in yourself, you have to believe in something. And belief is very powerful. Belief is what makes religion so strong. It's that you believe in a higher source, a higher being, something greater than yourself, that you accredit to your existence and your being and the success that you may have, and the life that you're living. So belief is powerful, and I believe that these experiences and this growth that I'm going through is gonna help me ultimately become the person that I want and need to become in order to be the best me that I could possibly be. In order to achieve the success and the desires I have for my future, I need to become a different individual than what I am now. And the only way that I could become that individual is through growth. This experience and many lessons I have learned before this point in my life have been my best teachers. I'm the type of person that I have to do things to learn them best. I learn things well by writing them down. I learn things well by hearing them. I learn things well by reading them. But the best way that I'm able to retain information, that I'm able to understand a principle, is by actually doing it. If I can do all four of those ways of learning, then that would be best. That would be optimal. But if I had to pick one, the best way that I learned, that I found I learned, is by actually going through it and doing it. Now, my grandfather told me so much information. Even with his best efforts, I still made mistakes. And being honest, my grandfather told me so much information. Some I put to good use, some I heeded his word on, some I didn't listen to, and I went out and did my own thing, thinking I was bigger and badder. And some things I just straight up forgot. I wasn't present. I didn't take the time for what it was, and I didn't appreciate his existence in this world, on this earth. But I don't take away from my experiences. Even though my grandfather taught me all of those things, there's still things that my grandfather taught me that I experienced that only experience could teach me. Like I thank him for trying to make, the road easier for me, but in my belief and others that I've researched and read, those experiences that we go through, those hardships, those discomforts, are what make us who we are. I'm sorry. One day, I was listening to a podcast or a YouTube video with a millionaire that was talking about, they would live hard lives, tough lives, and they would learn how to be resourceful, how to be ingenuitive, how to create things, and how to make their services worth money or valuable. And then they would establish this type of life, this comfort, and their kids would be born into that life. And they, as well as a lot of other parents, try to shield their kids from the hardships and the cruelty of life, and just try to give them an experience that they never had. And while that's all fine and dandy, that's good, because we definitely want better for our children than we had ourselves. He was saying we're robbing them of a very essential part of life, which is experiencing those hardships and being able to overcome them and deal with them in a manner that changes you. And instead of going through life, handed everything, being fed on a silver spoon. Now, I know that a lot of us would like for life to be that way. I would like for life to be that way. It would be awesome if, life was that way. But we need to be present and see what lessons we can learn at the level we're at. And at this point in our journey, on this page of our story, of the book of our life, what can we learn from right here? What can we use to propel tomorrow, next week, next month, next year into a higher level, so that you won't make the same mistakes as you did last year, so you could be a better you. Let's be present, let's be grounded and focused in the moment, because you can't truly learn what lesson you need to learn if you're focused on tomorrow, which it doesn't even exist. All we have is the present. The past has already come and gone. The future has yet to come. And currently we exist in the present. If we really think about it in a time-space manner, no moment exists other than this moment, past or future. Now you can reminisce or think back to the past, and in a sense, us thinking of it gives the past life. And same thing with visualization. Us thinking about the future, what we want for our future, what we want for our kids, our family, ourselves, that gives our future life and that brings it into existence. But honestly and truly, all we have at this present moment is the present. So let's use this time to be grounded and to focus on the things that the present has to teach us, the lessons that we have to learn, that so that we can not repeat mistakes, not repeat experiences, and be better for having gone through the experiences instead of missing the lesson and then having to repeat the test all over again. My grandfather's words have definitely taken the sting and sometimes the duration out of the experience, but the experience was the learning process nonetheless. I learned again, the way that I learned is by going through it, by doing it. And even though some experiences are better left undone, I'm I'm thankful for the experiences that I've been able to go through and that I've successfully made it through. Now, successfully made it through, when I use that statement, as I mean getting on the other side of the experience, like successfully making it from point A to point B. Now, success is determined many different ways for many different people. I in this sense, I mean for success to be overcoming an obstacle, making it through a difficult point in your life, making it to the other side of adversity. So in that manner, I have achieved success for 100% of the days that I thought were the worst days of my life. Days that I was not able to see the other side, I was not able to see the end. It just seemed like that moment, that space and time just engulfed me, just engulfed who I was. But when I hold up my past experiences to some of the other bars I have for success or some of the other measurements that I would judge activities by in order to decide whether I've been successful or not. Sometimes I would say I was successful, other times I would say I was not. But regardless of that, it doesn't detract from the point that there was a lesson in it all. If you were successful, if you weren't successful, if you were successful or if you were not successful, it doesn't matter. What matters is the lesson. What did you get out of what you went through? We have to make sure that we're just not going through life for nothing. These experiences count for something. These experiences are here to teach us something, to show us something, to mold us and make us, and to help us grow. Like, people look at forest fires as a horrible, horrible incident, which it is. A lot of life, property damage, just burned, destroyed. But there's a flip side to forest fires. There's growth that occurs because of forest fires. The overgrowth is burned, giving it a chance for new life to manifest in the aftermath of that. And that's the way you can look at the experiences that you go through if you deem them to be unsuccessful. You can rise from the ashes like a phoenix, and you could be made anew. You could be reborn into the next level of your life, where you take the lessons that you've accumulated for previous levels and use those lessons to propel you forward into the next level, moving you ever closer to becoming that individual that you want to be, that you need to be in order to obtain the success that you desire. I regret nothing. Yeah, there are things I could have done better, and in the same token, there are things that I could have done worse. But at the end of the day, I don't regret anything. I am where I am today because of the decisions and choices that I made. That's something that at the end of the day, I'm going to have to live with. Those are choices that I made, and I fully accept responsibility for my place in life today. Where I go tomorrow, and the day after that, and the weeks after that, the months after that, every step I take is going to be because of my action or inaction. And I take responsibility for that. And it would be smart of me to take action with the lessons that I've learned from the past in mind, instead of, again, repeating over and over and over the lessons that I've already been through, just spinning my wheel, not making any traction, getting any closer to the goals that I want to achieve. The only competition I'm in is with myself. The only competitor I'm battling against day in and day out is against myself. So I only compare myself to myself. I don't look to the left. I don't look to the right. He may be doing better than me. He may be doing worse than me. They may be doing better than me. They may be doing worse than me. One of the most valuable lessons that I learned is that the image that we see, the person that we see, is not always the person that they are. Meaning, you don't know what that person is going through. You don't know what that person is experiencing. You don't know if that person is putting on a facade just for the moment, for the time, and when they go back to their room, they just crumble and they can't hold this together no more. So, there's no point in being in competition with other people because you don't know their story. You don't know if this is page 1 of their story or page 91 of their story. Like, you don't know. And it's not for you to know. You don't need to know that. All you need to know is your story and your experiences. And that's how you generate how you move through life. So your only competition should be yourself. You should only be in it to win it against yourself. This journey, this race that you're winning is against yourself. And you may stumble, you may fall, but you need to get up and you need to keep going. Do what you got to do to keep going, but don't stop. You can crawl, you can roll, you can walk, you can jog, you can sprint, you can run, you can hop, you can skip, you can leap, you can do everything that you need to do in order to keep moving forward. But the only thing that's unacceptable is stopping. That's completely 100% unacceptable because you don't know what damage you're doing to those whose lives depend on your success. And I mean that in any major or minor form of success. Like, you may do something that seems little in your mind, but it may have extreme effects down the road. But because you took that step in faith, you've now established something for somebody down the road for them to benefit from. So don't discredit yourself and don't discredit how big or little your actions are because you don't know. You don't know what you're doing or what impact you have in somebody's life. There's beauty in the struggle. The most difficult paths often lead to the most beautiful destinations. So when things get hard, again, remembering the principles and laws that we've discussed, the principles of polarity, as equally as it swings towards the negative, it has to swing equally towards the positive. So be present, be in the moment, enjoy the suck. Like we used to say in the Marines, like, it sucks. Yeah, I know it. So I'm here. I got to do it. I got to go through it. I might as well enjoy it. Enjoy just being here. Enjoy being in this moment. And then eventually that pendulum is going to swing back equally to the positive as it was in the negative. There's beauty in the struggle. And the struggle is where we are made. And the struggle is where we are built. In the heat of the fire is where iron becomes the strongest. So don't get bogged down in how bad things may be or how difficult this experience may be. It's going to make you better. It's going to create a harder you. It's going to create a better you. The process of self-improvement is a lifelong process. It's not a race. You're not trying to get to $1 million before anybody else. That may be your goal, and if that is your goal, so be it. I'm not trying to get to $1 million before anybody else. I got goals that I'm, again, competing with myself against. I'm trying to be better than 29-year-old Chase, 28-year-old Chase, 27-year-old Chase. I'm trying to be better than all of those versions of myself. 30 should be better, because I have the experience of all of those before me. So, in my lifelong process to become a better person, I bring with me all of those lessons learned from previous experiences. No matter how slow you move, progress is progress. Do not get down on yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. This is your life. This is your book. This is your story. This is your experience. Don't discredit what you're going through or what you have gone through by comparing yourself to others or letting others have a say in your life, or the self-talk that you commit to your memory each and every day. There's beauty in the struggle. Live the experience, love the experience, be present.